I have two questions. In your earlier write-up, you addressed competitors. You mentioned that MIT, for example, is doing something similar focused on legs. Could you just talk a little bit about your competitors? And also, you indicated this comes from recycled plastic or trash. So could you discuss that as well?
For plastic materials, we can use, yes, with trash. It's the important point for using this. And for designing this device, we need only 3D printer. That's materials for producting. Okay, and we can use it by adding sensors or circuits or maybe electric boards. We can develop it in parking zones, or we can use with the jack, electric jack tremor, the reducing the tremor in Parkinson's patients.
Right.
Yes.
And so, what about addressing your competition? Other companies you might be coming up against?
For the other, Boston Dynamics and the MIT University are working on this devices, and that's so complex and very high tech. Yes. So, any question?
So I've got a question. So this is you mentioned it's for hand amputees. And I don't know enough, but is there a standard for how you get a mechanical device to react? I mean, at some point in time, what your target doesn't have this. So is it like a sensor or a pickup sensor on the skin, or is it an implant into nerves, or how does that kind of connect to the person?
Okay, it's by covering. We didn't design the cover for it to. Let me to show you. It's by covering this part coming down, and that's, for example, up and down. But by your wrist, down is open, front of is open, and by up it is by close it. Okay, but by for covering it, we can use it and cover the skin of the patients. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Elias, nice job. Thank you. I have one question. You mentioned, I think, three. You called them three outlooks. One was Parkinson's for tremor, right, with the electric jack. The other was neuro rehab, and the other was for vision impaired. Have you thought about what would be the first sort of solution or the first use case you might look at?
No. It's for vision of this device. I think the electric jack with producing heat.
Okay.
In the upper rest of Parkinson's patients maybe can reduce tremor in the hand, and by stimulation EMG signal, electromyogram signals, and transmit and create a simulation of EMG signals. We can control tremor hand, neurorehabilitation too.
So you feel like that's like so of all the things all the problems you could tackle, that would be the one you'd focus on first, would be Parkinson's.
For just only moving some things.
Okay.
Just only for moving. Yes. Not for reducing or, for example, something like that.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
So have you thought about like a price point, or so it sounds like what you're envisioning is kind of a prosthetic hand. And I think that society has those now. So how would you differentiate you're offering from what's currently on the market?
The premier producing, I think I'm of the belief that it's easy. It's as I said, with the only 3D printer and the 3D Max software, and we can produce it with trash, and it costs to the low cost, and I think it's easily for selling to people, for these people, and they can try, they can try to use it for one time, for two time, and if they can't not satisfied from them, it's okay. We can use another exoskeleton, but at the first step, they can use it, they can try.
So is your funding request to acquire the 3D printer?
Exactly, yes.
And what are your material costs? Like when you'll get this, but have you looked at like sourcing your material costs and then what your, I guess, production capacity is per unit of material? So that kind of
Just
backs into what
simple plastic.
your price would be.
For the you mean for primarily producing, how much money we need to do
Yeah, I
it?
was just thinking because you'll have a material cost that you'll use to print the 3D hand, right? And then if it's the ability to
For example,
reuse like the plastic, you could, I mean, this could come out at a very low price point, $100 or $200, or have,
I got it. You mean what you mean? For example, for selling this device for premium selling, maybe less than $500.
Mhm.
and do you know what like current prosthetics cost on the market? Like how much people pay for them?
Yeah, we have investigated some of these. They are maybe in the average of $1,000 to $2,000 in selling in shopping.
Yeah.
Yes, you have tried to low them this cost.
Have you used any potential patients or people living with Parkinson's to help you design the product? I'm
We have,
curious how you came up with the design. Did you have patients or people who use prosthetics helping you, or is that a future step?
actually, I'm biomedical engineering. In my bachelor's, I was in this degree, and I was in clinical places, and that tried to find this idea with our team and explore this way to, because this is a challenge. This is a big challenge for especially for poverty people.
Mhm.
And yes, it's a main goal of for us, and we have to try to design it.
And your plan would be to include people who have limited hand mobility to help you design or refine your
Yes,
design?
yeah, we have focus to the people has amputation in their hand or defect in their fingers, only fingers. Yes.
So I'm thinking, for example, veterans may be a resource. The Parkinson's Foundation might be interested in helping you design a low-cost device.
Yeah.
Lice, is that prototype that you showed a minute ago? Is that your prototype, or is that just an example that you brought?
It's an example.
Okay,
It's just example.
got it.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're right. So, any question other?
Okay, I think the 10 minutes are up unless there's any burning question from the judges before we wrap up this section of Q&A. Okay,
Nope.
thank you very much, Ilyas, and definitely Holly and the Difference Maker team will be into contact with you. Great idea, and looking forward of how this will be unfolding. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great.